Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found us again. We thought we'd lost you. It's the Squares the Round Table podcast, and it's me and Jeff.
Hello.
Hey. Ivan is spinning this week, so he'll be back next week.
We told him he needed to get a sweater.
He's going to Kohl's.
Yes.
Well, we really ran that joke in the ground. It's Kohl's with a
true.
C-O-L-E-S.
That's
but we like to
true.
say
we backed
Kohl's.
Over it like 3 times.
Yes.
We treated it like roadkill.
Just wrestled pulp of just gross. Yeah. It's not Kohl's the department store, but we just like to say it's funny like that Ivan's spinning at Kohl's. We just like to think it's funny. We hope you think it's funny too.
It was probably funny like the first time we did it.
Yeah, the first time, and then it stopped.
But somebody once said, your audience changes every 15 minutes, so who knows? Because maybe there's somebody on Google Play or iTunes who is finding the show for the first time, and maybe, just maybe, they hadn't heard that joke. I doubt it, though.
So how was your week, Jeff? How you doing?
Week was good. I mean, as good as it's going to be for right now, you know. I'm at that point where it's like, I don't know. I start dreading winter way too early. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't want this. But yeah, otherwise, not bad. Went out to the Botanic Gardens on Friday night here in Chicago for they did this night of 1,000 pumpkins thing, and I think it's next weekend too, by the way. If you're listening to the podcast and you hear it and you're thinking about it, I will tell you it might be sold out. They have people going in at 15-minute increments. There are 1,000 pumpkins in this one little section that they have that are all carved. Some of them are, how can I say, more professionally done and professionally carved and really impressive. Others are just things that look like your typical, how can I say?
The ones that look like mine.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's how they get away with calling it the 1,000, which is, there are 1,000 of them, but of the ones that are like really, really the amazing special ones, there ain't no 1,000 of them.
Yeah. Did you count, just to be sure?
I didn't have to count. Okay. I was pretty sure on my own. Because I would have thought we'd have had to walk a lot further if there were. But they were impressive, and I put some up on my Facebook page, and people were like, "Ooh, wow," because they had like things.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, like they had like unicorns, and it was funny. Somebody else I know went, and there was a superhero one, and I totally didn't see that one. I don't know how I missed it, but there was like ones for Day of the Dead, and like magic type stuff, and all kinds of things, and really cool. And then they had a couple places where these guys were carving pumpkins, and you could ask them questions, and you could watch them carve pumpkins. It was pretty cool. Kind of fun, especially if you had kids, and even if you didn't, it was kind of interesting. So yeah, that was my Friday.
Okay.
Like you, I actually gamed on Saturday. So I actually did a bunch of role-playing games out of Jackaroo Games in Warrenville. Did some role-playing. I walked in at like 9 a.m, and I didn't walk out of that building until midnight. So,
whoa.
Yeah, I did some hardcore gaming on Saturday. And then I had to drive home. But I only kind of get in one game a month these days. So, okay, I'll take my one day and do my thing. And like I said, I've always loved Star Wars RPG, so it's a lot of fun. It's a blast. And good people to play with. So, I'm trying to think of anything else this week.
You doing anything earlier in the week?
I released I finally got a copy of my district speech, the district speech from the International Speech Contest where I competed, the one that I did in May. And I got that one out, and I kind of released it to the world.
You shared that on your YouTube?
I shared it on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube page, but it is also on my personal page. I will share it to the Squares page. So in case anybody wants, the Squares of the Roundtable Facebook page, in case anybody wants to see it, I will do that after we do the show. I'll probably do it tomorrow.
Okay, so it'll be up by the time you're listening to this.
Yes. So if you want to go check it out, you can. That's, other than that, and we'll talk TV and stuff later, but other than that, yeah, that's kind of been my week. That's kind of what's going on. How about you? What's with you? What have you done?
Let's see. Tuesday night, I went and saw Jay Silent Bob Reboot.
Yeah.
And I'd say it was good. It would say it's just as good as like Clerks 2 or Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And
wait, whoa. Is it? Because I feel there's a difference between the two movies.
All right, it's in the pocket. I wouldn't say it's Kevin's best film, but it was still some good moments in it.
Is it more towards Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, or is it more towards Clerks 2?
I'd say somewhere in between.
Okay.
I went there, and it was in one of the smaller theaters because it was Tuesday and Thursday night was the Fathom events early screening because it's not getting a mass theatrical release, and it's only going to be available in Chicago. The 2 nights I think that they're doing their tour, the live tour, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. So I went there and I got a free mini poster. Like, okay, cool. Where am I going to hang this? It's like kind of like a superhero kind of pose, and Jay is wearing the big cock knocker fist from Strike Back.
Okay, yeah,
kind of like sport and like the Gauntlet. And there were some extras in front and behind the film where they had like celebrity interviews, and I think they kind of teased that on Kevin's YouTube page. And yeah, there were some good laughs in it. There were some genuinely funny moments in it. And you know what? Jason Mewes did some actual acting in this story.
That's possible?
Yeah, it did. It is. He did exceptionally well, I think, in my opinion. And okay. Harley, of course, Kevin's daughter, Harley's in it. Little jokes about, he puts his daughter in everything kind of joke, a couple of those. Kevin Smith is just Kevin Smith. He's just, yeah. And he gets all his regulars, he got Tommy Chong and Ralph Garman, who does that Hollywood Babylon podcast with him, and Jason Lee, who owns like Stash, the comic book store, and of course we don't see Randall in it. We saw Dante, but we didn't see Randall in this film for some reason. Anyway,
although I didn't I hear something recently that now they're talking about a Clerks 3?
I guess so. But I'd say I'd give it a good solid 3.5 out of 5 Yeah Mans. I didn't hate it. It had some good laughs in it. If you can catch it for like $5 or something, I'd say it's good. Good pickup. If you like that in the View Askew universe. I liked it.
I didn't feel the need to run to see it. I probably will wait till it comes out on demand.
Yeah, and it'll be out on streaming somehow in the near future, I'm sure. Right.
I definitely want to see it. I was not really interested in paying full price to see it right now.
Yeah, I did the Fathom event, which was like slightly more than your average movie ticket price. I'm like, okay. But it sated my curiosity, and I laughed. It was good. It was entertaining.
I'm sure. It's look, he does a good job with what it is and what he does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be, I feel like I'm one of the few in the geek world who, for me, Kevin Smith is kind of like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, he's not the spokesperson for all things geek in Hollywood, but he seems to be in a lot of people's eyes in the mainstream among normal people.
Well, and I think that's where I get tired of it. It's like, you don't speak for all of us. And yeah, you made some movies and you've done some comic book stuff, and I don't begrudge him for any of it. But after a while, I get tired of the Kevin Smith says this. Well, that's great. I don't care.
Yeah, he's not the foremost authority on all things in the geek culture that's now like super popular now.
Right. Well,
but anyway, all things aside, I like the film.
It's funny. We'll get into that later. But
yeah.
So a lot of the usual.
We're looking at
Silent
you, Francis.
Bob jokes and Well, yeah, exactly. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Didn't get to go see Jojo Rabbit because it's not playing here anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, it's gotten a really limited run, and like I'm looking on my movie app that everybody knows that starts with the letter F, and the nearest theater is in Evanston, and I'm like, I'm not driving
that's not
30.
far from me.
Well, it's not far for you, but it's far for me because I'm out in the sticks.
Well, I didn't say that. You did.
I did. I'm out in the cornfields. Not in the Chicago land.
In fairness, if it's the theater at Evanston, I'm thinking about it. It's a good theater.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, but I wanted to see it, and no one. Actually, I've asked everybody around, and nobody else wants to see it with me.
I'm
curious.
When I hear things about funny and Nazi and that stuff, I start to get a little nervous this day and age. But
you like just like the producers. I mean, they.
Yeah, well, that was a different time.
Yeah, it truly was.
It's a different time. Now I'm kind of like, is it really funny, or is it just? Oh, I don't know. This is a good idea. Like, yeah, I mean, I was kind of uncomfortable even when Mel Brooks used to play Hitler and to make fun of Hitler.
That was To Be or Not to Be. Yeah, I remember that other one he did with. What was her name? Had the guy in from Animal House was in it too, but that got a lot. I remember watching that a lot on cable. Anyway, so I haven't seen Jojo Rabbit yet. I want to, but I haven't bought my tickets for Terminator Salvation or Terminator Dark Fate.
Did you hear what happened? So apparently at screenings of, I guess there were Judgment Day screenings over the weekend at Alamo, at some of the Alamo locations.
Oh, the Draft House has done some.
Yeah, they did. So they were supposed to be airing Terminator 2. Surprise! It wasn't Terminator 2. It was the new movie.
Oh, Dark Fate. Oh man. Well, I'm going to see it a week before.
They surprised everyone and showed the new movie.
Neat.
So, yeah, I'm like, how do you like that?
Good on them.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, that's on the Squares page. But
okay.
Yeah, so apparently here, hold on, I'll pull it up. It was from Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, surprise screenings. It was Sunday night. They were supposed to be watching Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and it was actually, they surprised everybody by basically turning it into Terminator Dark Fate.
Wow.
And the first reactions from people that are on here is, it's like Force Awakens for Terminator.
Okay.
They're like, this is kind of rebooted the franchise.
Kind of Well, every Terminator movie was kind of rebooted. Aside from 1 and 2, the only two directly tied together. But 3, Salvation, and Genesis have all been kind of... That's when you deal with time travel, I guess.
Well, I guess this is more closer to 1 and 2 than it is the rest of them.
Okay.
But, so basically my understanding is, apparently I'm trying to remember... I'm trying to find where they talk about it. But I guess Alamo has 15 theaters that were doing this.
Around the country?
Around the country. Huh. Here it is. Alamo Drafthouse has orchestrated the event at 15 theaters, complete with an introduction by Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, yeah. So apparently, if you figured, I'll go see Judgment Day just to see it again at Alamo Theater, surprise, you got that.
What was it in those 90? It was 2007, I think it was. Like, or what? I mean, it was the anniversary or something, and they were doing like screenings because Cameron had put it out in 3D, and I'm like, nope, I'm not watching it in 3D. But but it'll have the extra footage put in. Where like the scene in the garage where they take Arnold's chip out and Sarah almost smashes it with a hammer and John's like, no, we need him. So they put the chip back in and he was like, everything all right? She's like, yeah. So that was a scene I think they could have left in, but they took it out for some reason. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go see that. And then after that...
is that this weekend?
No, it's a week.
Up?
That's a week from Friday. That's the Friday after Halloween.
Okay.
Then, of course, I got my Fans Toys Blur, which was just come out, another third-party item, and that thing's a pain in the butt to transform, but it looks good on the shelf, so I'm happy I got my 86 cast almost done here. And I did game on Saturday night. We played this old game from like 2001 called Enter Decker, and that sounds dirty. but that's the name of the... I guess look it up, but I guess it was a game of naval exploration where you go from like you search for islands and stuff.
That doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't.
The Enter Decker
sailors of
naval exploration. We're looking to find good young seamen.
Hello.
Oh
my. Hiyo.
Hiyo.
But I won by 2 points, yay. And then, of course, I was like, well, I got time to kill, and that's Saturday night. Because after my...
Yay! Fabulous!
We're going sailing! So we had a little bit of time to kill after we finished the game, and so we wanted something Halloween-themed. So we played this card game called Dark Gothic. And that's fun to do. It's like a deck-building game.
Okay.
And the thing is, the card art is all photographs of just cosplayers. But some of the pictures are kind of corny, but it's still a fun game. It was good. So yeah, I had a good week, and Sunday was great. I did my running. We had beautiful weather Sunday, so I went ran some errands. Got a nice big pumpkin I'm going to carve next week because I love baking the pumpkin seeds in the oven. Num 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 num. And of course the football games. Packers won. Bears lost. It's another
Colts
Sunday.
Win.
Yeah.
Colts win.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good for the Colts.
Colts win.
What else? I think that was it. Yeah, but I had a really good week.
So when you carve the pumpkin, do you put the little light in there, or do you go overboard, or you just kind of carve it?
I usually just make a funny or scary face. Mm-hmm. One year I think I did a black cat. Pattern, but usually it's just something boring, just an excuse so I can gut it and get the seeds out and bake it. But I do have color changing LED lights, so it looks pretty cool when I put those in.
I saw one that was pretty funny. It was a pumpkin, and it had the cutout to make it look like Wile E. Coyote went through the pumpkin.
Yeah, the outline when he goes through the rock or something when he's trying to catch that dang old ding dong roadrunner.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
There you go.
I thought it was kind of clever. I was like, that's a little different. That's a little different.
Yeah,
but
there's one that did. I saw there's all the fancy schmancy ones you can see online. So oh man, it makes my work look like crap. But good thing
that's what I saw Friday night.
Yeah.
Looking at those things, and I'm like. Wow.
I can barely carve a face.
Carve a face? I don't even think I could get that far. What are you talking about, man? I'm usually stick figures and crap like that, that's not happening.
So yeah, I had a good week. It was good. So I'm looking forward to and I did this tonight, just before we went on the air, just before we started recording, I bought my tickets for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. They went up just about an hour ago. And I only had to wait 1 minute. And only a few seats were taken out of the theater that I had selected. So
I'm not there yet.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
I'm going to go, but I am not as excited about this.
We know. I know. I still haven't. And starting next month, I'm going to start watching one of the Star Wars films a week.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Just like I did.
Are you going to do the other thing? Okay.
Leading up to Endgame, I watched all the Marvel films, so I'm going to watch all I'm not going to do Solo and Rogue One. I'm going to leave them out.
Right.
So I'm just going to do episode 1 through 8, leading up to Rise of Skywalker.
I just refuse to watch episode 8 now.
I've only seen it once in the theater. So
I saw it. They had it on Netflix. I was watching with a friend, and we made fun of it for 2+ hours. I mean, it was even worse the second time than the first time. Because now I could really make fun of it. I mean, it's just like, there is nothing cool about the hyper speed, the chase thing that they're doing that looks like something out of an
I know,
OJ.
the OJ chase, the slow speed chase.
Yeah. I'm like, this is so dumb. It's just... Anyway, it's funny. I was having a debate with somebody, that they were like, "Oh, I would much rather watch that than the first three movies." I'm like, no way. I don't think I could. No, that I can stomach as much as Phantom Menace is boring as hell, and I still question why you need it. I would much rather watch. Man. Yeah, that's about it, isn't it? I mean,
that's pretty much the centerpiece of the film.
Well, that fight with the Gungans with the droids is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I guess that's all right.
That's not bad. But otherwise, yeah, it's kind of one of those movies where it's like, what was the? I think the thought process was to give primer, and it's like, no, you should have done this differently. You could have done the and now he's older. You know?
We kind of did that. That's how we got in episode 2.
Right. But you could have done that in episode 1.
Then there's the cartoons. I've seen there's a cartoon on YouTube that makes fun of Hayden Christensen's acting.
That guy got torched.
He must stand trial. Well. Anyway. So, Star Wars.
He got torched, and they felt bad for the guy who played, what's his name, Jar Jar. Because I have heard stories now that guy almost committed suicide.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but he's still well welcomed at the Star Wars shows, the conventions.
I think now he is. Yeah. I think
because now the younger people who grew up on that, they still adore it. Like, he got so much backlash. Everyone hated him in episode 1. Not everyone, but I mean, Jar Jar was the character that was going to be like the next R2-D2. I mean, everyone, that they propped him up, Jar Jar Binks, to be the, and even like people, I've watched interviews from people who work at Hasbro saying, yeah, we made a lot of Jar Jar Binks toys. And yeah, they didn't sell.
Yeah, well, I guess some people have started seeing The Mandalorian, and they said it's been pretty good. Okay. I guess that's going to come out quickly on Disney Plus. From what I'm understanding, nope. I don't know all. That's the one thing about Disney Plus that I'm not.
That's coming in a month,
right? And the one thing that I'm like kind of sitting there, it's like, look, unless you've got new programming that's going to be on right away, I don't feel the need to buy it this month.
You'd think they'd have had a new show ready at launch day.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be The Mandalorian, but they're not the way they're. I saw an advertisement, and it's like they're being coy about it, and it's like.
I think maybe they're just going to wait until like a week before it drops, and then be like, guess what's going to be on Disney Plus the day it comes out.
That's the other question. Do you think that they're going to space out?
They're going to do weekly drops. Oh yeah, I did see 4 episodes of season 2 of Titans.
Oh, okay. We can talk about that for a second. Actually, if we're going to talk about that, then we can get to there's been some interesting stuff so far with the CW DC shows.
Okay.
But we can start with Titans because I'll be honest, I still haven't seen season 1. One of these days I'll get around to it.
Now, season 2, I can tell it's gotten tighter. The actors are coming into their own, and especially the actress who plays Raven. Although, the whole season 1 with this build-up to was all about mostly about Raven. And this build-up to coming to the big baddie of Trigon. Mm-hmm. And the first episode, he's kind of semi-dispatched, but we're not sure of that yet. Now they focused like immediately on Dr. Light and Deathstroke. Which is what they're focusing on the next 3 episodes, which I've watched. But I think we're on episode 7 now, I think. They've dropped them weekly on DC Universe. But I'm still liking it, still digging it, so.
Well, I mean, the only thing I've heard that's interesting is is apparently this will be the season where Dick Grayson goes from Robin to Nightwing.
Yeah, he's not Nightwing yet. I mean,
right.
Because Jason Todd's run around as new Robin, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, but my understanding is that they even have pictures of him in the Nightwing outfit.
Okay, good.
So, and then there's something else about, I guess, they're doing a very similar thing to the Jason Todd thing.
Yeah, because that was 30 years ago when the fans voted to kill Jason Todd in the comics.
Well, apparently now they did something in Titans where apparently you have to go vote and call.
Yeah, he's as of spoilers for season 2 of Titans. If anyone wants to fast forward like a minute or two, as of episode 4 of season 2 of Titans, Jason Todd's been captured and probably being used to goad the Titans and kind of divide and conquer kind of thing. So he might be dead, he might not.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because when I ever get to see season 2, because when I think about Deathstroke, I think about what's his name, the guy who played him on Arrow, and that's not who they're using.
No, and we do see his daughter. I forget what her. I think her name is Ravager. Rose, yeah.
Rose,
yeah. So anyway,
well, technically she's the Ravager, but yeah, that's Rose.
Yeah. But no, it's still good. Starfire's coming into her own a little bit more. We've gotten more depth in that. Not so much with Beast Boy. They don't know what to do with him because his animal changing special effects cost so much money.
Yep.
That they can't do it every episode. So even and they had him in season 2 briefly as a snake, and that was it. And he just changed back. I mean, they can't afford to do that on this kind of budget for a show. But oh well. So stay tuned. We'll get more episodes in a couple weeks' time or whatever.
See, that to me is kind of interesting all by itself because it's like, if you knew you were going to have that kind of trouble, maybe that didn't make a lot of sense. Maybe you should have picked somebody else. But they really wanted to do Titans, and they really wanted to do pretty much the original cast.
Yeah, and we're still getting more of Hawk and Dove and Donna and a flashback with a guy who played Aqualad, like a poor man's Brad Pitt, who played Aqualad in a flashback episode.
Right, and I think they're going to bring some of those characters in.
Right.
I think the most interesting part to me is they have not thought in any way, shape, or form about bringing in Wally West. And
or a Kid Flash or whatever.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Or some sort of Flash.
Right, some speedster, right.
Right, they haven't done that at all. I'm assuming some of that has to do with the CW stuff. But I think some of that's starting to blur because I don't know. I'm very now that CW has a Batwoman show. I'm very curious to see what they're going to let them use and what they're not. Episode 3, and I wasn't aware of this. I guess this is something I was aware of. But episode 3 for Batwoman included Tommy Elliott, which means that we're talking about Hush, which is probably one of the bigger Batman storylines in the last 20 years. I mean, that's the big Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb storyline from a while back, and they kind of hinted that the Riddler's around. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what characters they're allowed to play with.
And we did get some cast additions to the Robert Pattinson, the Batman.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting because some of these, they get very territorial on some of this stuff about who can use what. And, to me, what I find frustrating about Titans is that means that we won't get Dick Grayson on a Batwoman show. And it probably also means we're not going to get Jason Todd. And they've already said that Robin exists. Or there was a Robin, but they haven't talked about what or how or what happened to him or where he went. But to me, that means that if you're going to talk about Robin, there's only there's only a couple of choices left that you can go with. If you wanted to bring in Robin. Yeah, I unlike some people, I've been okay with the Batwoman show. It's a little clunky.
Have you watched episodes 1 and 2, or just 1?
And 3.
Oh, there's 3 now. Okay.
Right. That's why I said Tommy Elliott was last night, and Tommy Elliott is Hush.
Okay.
And I was kind of surprised to see Tommy Elliott on a Batwoman show, because I was like, wow, that's a major cast move. That apparently they're bringing him as a villain, and he's going to be around. So, and then I saw in the previews they're bringing in Magpie, who isn't a major villain, but she is a Batman villain. Like I said, I'm curious to see who they get access to and who they don't. The first episode of Arrow happened last week. It was, if you're not well aware of DC stuff, or you haven't been watching the shows, you could get lost real fast. At the same time, was really pretty good. And they pretty much destroyed Earth 2 in that episode. So the Crisis stuff is starting already a little bit. And Flash is having some Crisis stuff already as well. Or they're building towards it. So we'll see. So there's that. And then they cast somebody to play the Spectre, which is surprising because I thought they were going to have Stephen Amell play him. But they casted somebody for that. So, but yeah, I think I'm still watching Black Lightning, but I'm not feeling it really. I'm just not.
You said you're not watching Flash, or you said...
I am watching Flash.
Okay.
Flash has been okay. Flash has been the usual Flash thing. There were certain things that they kind of worked more towards the Crisis storyline in this particular show, but I think that'll get dropped for a little while. I think it's mostly going to be what you're going to see in Arrow, because that seems to be a direction they're moving in Arrow. But yeah. I guess there's some casting in the Batman movie besides, I guess Jonah Hill's not in it, and I don't remember who the other guy is that they did.
Yeah, who they picked somebody to play the Riddler, and they have another actress who's going to be Catwoman. I'm okay with both. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm trying to scroll through. The funny part is like the week goes by and you're like, okay, what happened this week? Or what things do we need to talk about? Oh, duh.
That's what I make notes for.
Yeah, so I guess Kevin Feige is in charge of Marvel entirely.
He's the king of Marvel.
Not just the movies anymore.
Well, because we know all the Disney Plus shows with Marvel are going to be all tied to the MCU.
Right, but even the comics now.
Oh, boy.
So he's in charge of that, too.
Oof.
But my understanding is he'll still probably demur to the people who do the comics for the most part. But now he's going to be looped in with that, too. If anything, the interesting part to me is, with what's going on with TV, it begs the question to me about what's going to happen to Jeff Loeb, who has been with Marvel for a while now and was their TV guy. And as I mentioned, Jeff Loeb's an amazing writer. He's been an amazing comic writer. He's written some of the best comics for a long time. And not to mention that he's been involved in Heroes. He was involved with Lost. He was involved with Smallville. And he's been running Marvel TV for a long time. So I'm curious. I like Loeb. He's, his material's always been good. I will admit that I did not like the Marvel Netflix stuff.
Marvel Netflix, that's going to be, is that going to,
done.
Yeah, I know it's done. They're not going to make any more of that, but is that going to stay on Netflix?
I don't know how that works.
I presume it's Netflix's. I mean, it's theirs.
I guess. I have no idea. All I know is that they can't Marvel can't use those characters for a 2-year period from that point. And I'm curious to see how that's going to work eventually. But yeah, some of the live action stuff Jeff has not been very good with. And you know, I wasn't thrilled with Cloak and Dagger. Unlike a lot of other people, I wasn't really thrilled with the Marvel product on Netflix. I didn't find it to be all that great. S.H.I.E.L.D. is, you know, Peggy Carter didn't make it very far. Inhumans was a bust. S.H.I.E.L.D. has made it a while, but S.H.I.E.L.D. is practically on like a Friday night now, and it's almost done. They're at the end. So, I mean, the only thing I can think of that's worked out in his favor have been the cartoons. You know, and maybe Runaways. I have no idea. And I have no idea if Runaways is sticking around or not. But a lot of the live action TV that he's created has not had the impact that the movies have. So, but I don't know how much of that has been politics too. But I hope he doesn't. Like I said, I hope that doesn't mean the end for him. But you know, I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of curious. Like I said, if I was Marvel, that's not somebody I would want to let go either. Especially because I'll be honest, in this day and age, he could walk across the street to DC right now, and they'd probably love to have him. If they were smart. But then again, Warner hasn't been smart lately for a while either.
Maybe Kevin Feige will give him like a deputy badge or something.
If he's smart, he would.
Yeah.
I mean, Loeb gets it. So I think that's...
If he's smart, he'll use his resources.
Right. Yeah, that to me is kind of where they're at. And then... I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, Netflix is going to have Bone animated.
Are you gonna go see Joker at any time?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's still it didn't. Zombieland didn't beat it, but Maleficent got number 1 in the box office last week.
Did it really?
Yeah, but Joker was like Maleficent got 37 million about, and then Joker got 30 million, and then Zombieland got like 20, almost 27.
I gotta be honest, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, the Joker has this much staying power, this much longevity. People must be going to see it multiple times. I'm not one of those people.
Well, I think there's still some people, too, who haven't gotten to it like me.
Who are like, hey, let's find out what this is about.
Right. I think there's people like me who haven't gotten to it yet either. And this, in fairness, we've talked about this before, that normally this is the time of year where there's not a lot out. No. But I am surprised because I'm curious what reaction is on how well is on the numbers that Zombieland pulled, because that seemed... I would have thought Zombieland, with the amount of ads that I'm seeing all over the place on Zombieland, or at least on my Facebook feed, I was like, this thing's probably going to...
Well, it'll make the studio money because it didn't cost much to make. But it has that cult following, and it's Halloween time, so people are going to go a funny, scary movie. But
right, and that's why I think that's why I was a little shocked, is I expected, because it was, kind of a Halloween type movie.
Yeah. And the thing is the zombie thing. It's, the zombie genre is kind of winded down. I think it stars fading, I think. And although this movie, the original film, is still kind of what they call a cult classic, but
right,
yeah. But I was thinking Zombieland would have done better, but
yeah, more people, I guess, are interested in Maleficent than I ever thought it was. I wouldn't think is that more of a kids movie? I wouldn't have thought it would be. I don't think that's really something I'd take by. Well, who knows?
It's rated PG.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Then maybe maybe that's why. Maybe that's why.
It made $150 million, most of it through foreign box office.
Okay.
But only made $36 million. Well, that's not including today or whatever. But the weekend it did pretty good. and then like 120 million overseas. So
okay, then I'm sure it'll be.
Like I said, and it's Halloween time, so, and she's the scary villain, but not kind of the villain.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't. I don't think I saw Maleficent 1. I wasn't really looking for Maleficent 2, but I'm not the right audience for that either.
No, not my bag.
Right, neither of us are. So you didn't sign up for the big 27-hour Star Wars thing, did you?
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh my god! If you're gonna do something like that, you might need like a catheter.
No, I'm doing one. Yeah, I'll borrow Kathy from Ivan.
Yeah, Kathy catheter.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not one for. I think there are people who are doing that with the Marvel films leading up to Endgame.
Right. Yeah, but at least there's no way you could do that in one day. Right?
No. Unless if you there are people who are able to stay up. I think that's part of your Navy SEAL training. They got to stay up and watch all the Star Wars movies.
Maybe. The funny part is, considering the fact that I can't really stand Episode 8, and I could do without Episode 1, I might be able to make it work.
Most people would say you could do without Episode 2.
Yeah, I like Episode 2.
But not 1. Interesting.
I don't like 1, but I like Episode 2. And I'm okay with Episode 3. Obviously, I want to see 4, 5, 6 for obvious reasons. And I love 7.
Yeah, I liked 7, but I could
totally. My thought process is this: skip 1, so you sleep a little longer, so you get the first 2-3 hours. Then show up for the ones you want to watch.
Then you get 2 and 3, and then Solo. And then Rogue One.
No, I don't think they're doing those.
Oh, okay, you're just doing the 8.
I think they're just doing the 8 movies.
I think what they're doing is the one-offs off. Okay.
Right, what I think they're doing is they're doing all the 8 movies and then going into the 9th movie.
Right. Because this is the Skywalker tale.
Right. I think the only other thing I kind of, to me, here's the other reason why it's not as appealing. Okay, so you bought the ticket. You're there for 27 hours. Which is, that's the first part. The second part is you're also stuck buying their food. And that's expensive. That's kind of expensive.
Yeah, it is.
That actually, it's expensive enough for one show. Now imagine you're seeing 9. It would work if you sat there and said, okay, this includes food. Like food and beverage refills. If you know what I mean. Maybe then. Otherwise, I'm like, I could do this at home and eat my own food.
And go to the fridge instead of paying. I know.
And hit pause.
Exactly.
Go to the bathroom.
Right. Well, obviously you've seen these before. You know which scenes you can get up and leave momentarily.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the nice part about those movies is like, well, I mean, I kind of laugh because the reason I'm mentioning the way I'm mentioning it is, okay, if I don't like Episode 8, it's like, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going out to my car. I'm going to take a nap.
Right.
And then I should be ready to go for the last movie. But I'm still not going to do this. This costs too much money. And I'm not paying that much money for food. That and trying to think of anything else.
No, I wouldn't do the 27-hour binge watch before. That's torture. Like I said, 1 a week for me leading up to Episode 9.
Yeah, I'm more. Yeah, I'd be more inclined to that than the other way. Boy, it's funny. That's going to be more difficult than I remembered if I wanted to do that now. Because Disney Plus, they moved everything to Disney Plus. So it's not like you're going to be able to, like, okay, I can go grab this off of, like, on demand and crap like that. Or
yeah, I figure I'll just have to get, like, a gift card from Google Play or something. That'll have some format that'll have the Star Wars films before leading up to 9.
Yeah, I saw something from J.J. Abrams who was talking about I'm making sure that there's going to be a satisfying error. It's like, you better. I think after Jedi, it's like, you better figure this out.
Well, it's not like Rian Johnson's door's getting knocked down either for offers or jobs, but he's still going to have work.
No, I think they still have.
Rian Johnson's doing the next trilogy, right?
Well, I don't think it's the next one, but they do have him doing one.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about it, and and then there was that rumor that Kevin Feige wants to do one. Or that's part of an agreement that Feige is going to possibly do a set of Star Wars movies.
No, just give us Marvel. Let him. He needs to work on Marvel.
Yeah, well, I like I said, we've talked about this before. I'm curious. The Black Widow movie, I think will do okay, because people know who Black Widow is now. But some of the choices they're making for the next few movies,
with these third-tier characters,
with some of these
getting
third-tier
entire
characters,
origin films, like and the Eternals and Shang-Chi, most people be like, who, what, huh?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's not like, and the weird part is I think the Eternals have a comic, but I don't know that Shang-Chi does.
He's going to have his own soon.
He better.
They want to sell some books before and leading up to this film.
Yeah, seriously, I would think that you better start figuring out a way to get him involved. So yeah, it's funny. I had stuff for Ivan this week, but he's not here. Because as usual, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their nominees.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I'll have to remember to talk about that. There was something about Guns N' Roses now being the most watched YouTube song of or something. I'd have to find it again.
It's not the most, but it's just recently the official video for the song just officially hit 1 billion views.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. I just want to watch Ivan explode about the Hall of Fame again.
He really doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't like it at all.
No, yeah.
He doesn't like it at all. And you know whoever he wanted didn't get picked.
Yeah.
You know that happened. So.
Well, he knows what. It's a business. It's like anything else. It's a money generator.
Yeah, but Ivan gets mad about that stuff.
Yes,
That's
he does.
the part I laugh about is it's like, it's a business. It's like.
Yeah, man. I'm going to make my own Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You should.
With blackjack and hookers.
And cockroaches.
Oof.
Well, where else is he going to make it? In a van down by the river?
That's right.
Yeah. And then there was an article in the New York Times about Bendis is going to reveal Superman's identity, and I guess it's going to be more than just a tease in the comics.
Okay. They got to do something. They got to keep that fresh.
And I guess, and I'm seeing more stuff about this 5G thing. For that they're talking about it, and I don't know.
Because the new 52 is pretty much done, right?
Oh, that's been done.
Yeah, it's been
a while.
done. So now we're still in Rebirth.
They're kind of in the Rebirth thing, and that's weird too because Jeff Johns was supposed to be more involved with it, and
I was reading the Batman Monthly for a while, leading up to and just past the Catwoman wedding.
Yeah, and then that's moving to an entirely different book. I guess there's going to be a Batman Catwoman book that Tom King's going to be on. So, how do I say this? No, I can't. I got to keep my mouth shut. Okay. Sometimes I hear things that I'm not supposed to talk about yet. Let's just say I'm not thrilled with the reason they moved Tom King off of the Batman book.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled at all. and that's the best way I can put it. Because the answers that I've heard are really not good.
And speaking of Batman, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot pretty much made a lot. They made a lot of references to BVS.
Did they?
Yeah.
Good or bad? Well, probably bad, right?
Well, just tongue in cheek. It wasn't like bashing it, but they were just That's pretty much what they're aping.
Oh, apparently there's a list out of the top 100 singers from Rolling Stone of all time. We totally.
Well, you got to save this for Ivan next week.
I'll put it on our page. But apparently this. I'm positive this will get Ivan's goat too.
Excellent.
I should be like that. It's just he explodes about music, and I love him for that. I really do. Out of curiosity, who do you think would be number one?
This day and age?
Well, it's all time.
All time. Freddie Mercury.
No.
Maybe Frank Sinatra.
Hold on. Freddie Mercury is at 18.
In the top, well, he's in the top 20.
I'm looking for Frank Sinatra. Hold on. I think this is rock.
Okay, it's not.
But I could be.
But it's singers.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, because I see Etta James on this list, so it's definitely
contemporary
not rock.
Songs.
It's not rock. So Sinatra. If I'm looking at this right now, in fairness, I'm just
You're perusing. You're scrolling
quickly.
Yeah.
So I have not seen Frank Sinatra in the first column. I do not see him in the second column.
Maybe, I don't know, Whitney Houston?
For the top spot?
No. I'm probably not going to guess the number one. But like I said, we'll save this for Ivan. We got to get his goat next week.
Well, no, just just because we've teased people here. Here's the top five, and I got to be honest with you, the top five ain't that bad. Top five, we'll go 5-1. John Lennon, Sam Cooke, Elvis Presley.
Yep, Presley, good.
Ray Charles. Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Aretha Franklin at 1 is a little surprising.
I'm not mad at this list.
I'm not either.
No.
I'm not mad at that top 5.
No.
Especially when number 6 is Marvin Gaye and number 7 is Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
The first name that makes me question is Otis Redding is at 8. But
okay.
Stevie Wonder and James Brown are 9 and 10. I agree with you. There's a part of me where I'm like, Freddie Mercury might be higher, but I'm looking at some of the names ahead of Freddie Mercury, and I'm going, I'm not sure I can put him ahead of those names.
Ray is known. Well, there's some of these artists that are known for their musical talent, not as well as their singing talent. Not to say that one is better than the other.
Right. Well, and that might be a good point about Ray Charles. Yeah. I almost might say that about Elvis Presley. Like, for example, I'm kind of looking at this here. Johnny Cash is at 21, and there's a part of me where I'm like, I feel that's too low.
Yeah.
I feel that's too low.
I agree with you that.
I don't know where I'd put him, but I don't think I'd put him.
I'd have Freddie higher.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's the thing about these.
But I mean, like, okay, so here's who's ahead of Freddie Mercury from 10 to where he's at 18. Okay? 10 is James Brown. 11 is Paul McCartney. 12 is Little Richard. 13 is Roy Orbison. 14 is Al Green. 15 is Robert Plant. 16 is Mick Jagger. 17 is Tina Turner.
Mick Jagger's a better singer than Freddie Mercury?
I can't. I could see the argument. I could see it. I mean, it's the part where it's like my reaction is no way. It's so far I'm looking at the names and none of them I'm sitting there going, no freaking way. The only name I'm seeing in the top 20 and the top 20 that I'm sitting there going, no freaking way, is Otis Redding.
If you equate their songwriting talent with their singing, I mean, just saying this is a singer and he's one of the greatest of all time. but then there's range, and then there's feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll talk about it when I.
Yeah. All
right. We should get to the conversation that we can have that Ivan won't want to have anyway. So we've been kind of showboating around it, which it feels like now every freaking week we're having this conversation now. It's like every time I turn around, there's somebody else who's decided now's the time that they're gonna bash like superhero movies and big ticket movies. You know, last week it's Scorsese, now it's Coppola. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, I know. I shared a satirical article on my wall about how the ghost of Orson Welles has risen from the grave to say he doesn't like Marvel movies. It's like, you can like both. You don't have to bash one to like the other.
So here's the problem I'm running into. The problem I'm running into is if they would stop bashing the Marvel movies, if they would stop talking about it from that perspective and start talking about what they really are trying to say, that would be more interesting. Because I think what they're really trying to say is something we've talked about before on this show, which is, all right, where do the movies go that aren't these big pole tent
right
pieces?
Billion-dollar blockbusters are taking three theaters in the multiplex.
Right. So like, and it's funny. I put it on my page today where I was talking about it. I was like, would a movie like Harry Met Sally exist in a movie theater today? I don't know. I don't know if that could happen today in today's movie theater, and if major studios would put something like that out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, can a Jennifer Aniston rom-com fill a theater? Maybe in February, maybe around Valentine's Day, I guess, because that's the weekend. You got to take your girlfriend because she wants to watch these funny films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the fact that this genre of film, let's put aside the fact that it's very successful right now, but the fact that this movie genre has spent decades pretty much in obscurity, pretty much being like there was the kiddie table, there's the adult table where The Godfather and Kramer versus Kramer were at, and meanwhile we were in the back corner, we were in the kiddie table in the corner. Where we had Christopher Reeve's Superman. Oh, okay, that was good. It was a fluke. And then we got these other ones, and it's built up to it. And then there was a dark time, with George Clooney and the bat nipples. We don't talk about that. So we got...
I like bat nipples. Not those bat nipples.
So Disney and Marvel got their shit together, and they've created this grand arc of this story of these superheroes that have come together to fight evil. And the fact that on their way up, we didn't have the Marvel movies. They weren't diminishing other genres on their way up. But now that they're sitting high on the mountain, all the Coppolas and the Scorseses, they're pointing and thumbing their nose at us.
So here's
and delegitimizing us.
So here's what I find interesting. What I find interesting is that it's always aimed at the superhero movies, and but you never heard this stuff about Star Wars or Star Trek or stuff like that. You're starting to hear a little bit of it, but even in the comments that are being made by these guys, or by a Jennifer Aniston or a Jodie Foster, it's never aimed at Star Wars or stuff like that. Why? And I think I know why. Because they're all friendly with George Lucas. And they're all friendly with Steven Spielberg. And because those guys, they don't want to piss off.
Right.
Okay.
It's all part of the club too. I mean,
right.
The old saying goes, some people never leave high school. And the fact that they're buddies with Spielberg and Lucas is why they're leaving that alone.
Right. Well, and the other thing is that, look, let's think about this for a perspective. For a long time, Steven Spielberg wasn't part of their little club either. I mean, I still remember that, back in the day in '82 when Steven Spielberg did E.T., and I still remember that political cartoon where it's Gandhi holding an Oscar and E.T. sitting on a whole pile of money. Okay? Because even to this day, if someone sat there and said in 1982 what was Best Picture, and you looked at what the pictures were, someone would sit there and go, what do you mean E.T. didn't win?
But that was the most popular. That's the thing, though, too.
Well, and in fairness, E.T. probably, but again, why did it not win? Because it was the science fiction, and it's this, and it's that.
It was the fantasy, comic book tale.
Right. It was that kind of thing. And even there were a couple, I'm trying to remember what else did Steven Spielberg did that they kept on snubbing stuff for a while. And it was only after Schindler's List that suddenly it was, okay, he's legit. Right. He's legit. You don't hear them complaining about how many more Jurassic World movies there are.
No. Well, that kind of, and that's making money hand over fist.
Right.
Especially overseas now.
Right. And you don't hear anybody, I mean, they didn't say anything specifically about their buddy George Lucas, who made billions of dollars selling the Star Wars franchise and is still making money on that.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't hear them saying anything about that. Okay. But they immediately go after the superhero movies. But they're
Marvel in particular.
Well, right. Well, because Marvel's been more successful than the others. And there's a part of me where I keep laughing, and one of the reasons I keep laughing is one of the reasons we're hearing some of these things is, okay, I'm Jennifer Aniston, and I'd like to work in movies. Well, okay, guess what? We're not making the type of movies that Jennifer Aniston makes.
So she'll have to just make her money just posing on magazine covers.
Or, guess what? You need to go back to TV. Or here's an idea. You've made a lot of money. Or you have streaming services, which is what she did. I can't remember what show she's doing for a streaming service right now, where she ended up doing that. Just like Scorsese. Scorsese's mad because then none of them would do The Irishman. And now it's only going to be a limited run in theaters, but it's going to pretty much be on Netflix. And there's still confusion because the Joker movie was supposed to be Scorsese, not Todd Phillips. And all of a sudden it was, it's Todd Phillips. And I'm like, what happened to... A lot of people are like, what happened to Scorsese? I thought Scorsese was involved in this movie. And I think that's another reason why Scorsese's is making comments.
He's got a little chip on his shoulder.
Right. And just like I'm sure Jodie Foster had movies that she wanted to make, that big studios were sitting there going, right now we're making these movies that make a shitload of money. And I agree with them on part of it, which is some of what Coppola says has a point, which is, all right, about what happens to the quote-unquote cinema, as in the arts and the art of making the great of some of these movies that are out there. And I see his point. At the same time, there are more places now more than ever for those movies to get exposure. Opportunities.
Yeah.
And in this
it doesn't have to be in a century-old cinema theater.
Right. Right.
It can be everywhere.
Right.
People like, well, my movie's not meant to be watched on a tablet or a phone.
Right. Well, and that's okay. Have you seen people's TV? My favorite is, have they seen people's TVs? They're huge.
Yeah.
They're good quality.
You see people clamoring for 60-inch TVs in about a month from now.
Yeah.
At the store.
Exactly. Well, and that's why I kind of like, are there still people... Now, if you're going to sit there and say that there are people of certain income brackets that are not going to have an opportunity to see your movie because they can't go to the movie theater, my first reaction is, okay, you have a point. My second reaction is, in this day and age, a family with kids going to the movies is expensive.
Yeah, especially if the kids want popcorn and drinks.
Absolutely. And you got
And when you buy this great big television and you're paying for internet and data, and you just pay for $10 a month for your favorite streaming service, there you go.
Yeah, or there you go. You don't even need streaming service. It's not even 10 if you think about it, because if you're buying Disney Plus, which you probably are for your kids.
Yep.
Boom, $7 a month, all good. I'm good with this. Oh, and I get the Marvel movies, and I get this, and I get that. Okay, that works.
But the fact that let these, so it's like if they make in the 70s, if they were making funny westerns,
right?
Look at how many westerns there were.
I know,
riding that train.
Well, that's why the other part that I find hysterical about all this is it's like, then once upon a time there was a period where everybody made a western. That westerns, every other movie was a western, okay? And you don't hear people come. I mean, well, actually, I take it back. As a kid, I was like, how many freaking westerns did they make?
Yeah,
I remember doing that.
I know.
And just like I kind of laugh. It's like, oh, Scorsese is complaining about his movie. You mean how many more freaking mafia movies you gonna make? Can't you make something else? Is the human condition and the human trauma? Bullshit. This is another mafia movie. Shut up. Human condition. Human condition because they put bullets in your head and they sent out. So stupid.
I think Endgame has. You think that we may not get a Marvel movie that'll come close to being as big as Avengers Endgame,
right?
In a very long time. Although Joker's doing very well, but it's not going to get like Endgame.
It's not going to
be
that.
No.
It's not going to be that.
No.
It's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
For us to get a movie like that again.
Because now we've hit saturation and we're doing like 2-3 year.
It's not even saturation. You built to that.
Yeah.
You built to that. I mean, what people forget is people forget to get to Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame was not made in a vacuum.
Right. Endgame wasn't made in a vacuum.
It was a result of 20 other movies that came before it.
And and what people forget is one of the reasons why there was so much anticipation for Endgame is because Infinity War is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
With an ending where you're sitting there going, what? And I gotta wait a year? Are you kidding me? You all suck. I hate you. I gotta wait? I mean, that's what the problem was.
Well, we were old enough to know, like, when we had Empire. You and I were old enough when Empire Strikes Back came out, and the bad guys lost at the end of Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to wait 3 years for Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did young Jeff Stein like Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
When it first came out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Return of the Jedi is still... I always laugh because people for a long time would sit there and say to me, oh, my favorite is Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like, I kind of like Return of the Jedi better.
My favorite is A New Hope.
I could see that. There is
because I was 6.
Sure.
Just 6-year-old me.
Sure.
Just
absolutely.
loving it.
Absolutely. I think I was 6 or 7 when I saw New Hope for the first time.
Yeah.
And I went, whoa.
Yeah. I was 6 in 1977.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I get it. At the same time,
I understand. Like, why isn't... I know why people say Empire's their favorite film. Because it was a great story.
Right.
And the bad guys won at the end, pretty much.
Well, and there's a lot of moving parts to Empire.
Yeah,
it's
true.
very interesting. Empire and Infinity War are very similar in what they look and how they move and what they do if you look at them in terms of what they do. And it's funny because I do like Return of the Jedi far more than I like Endgame. But I gotta be honest, Infinity War, Infinity War. If somebody sat there and said, "Well, I got Infinity War," yeah, I want to watch that. Yeah, I do. That's an amazing movie. That was 2+ hours of where I was truly riveted. And even though I knew that obviously these people were going to come back to life, there was a part of me where I was like, "You can't leave me here. What are you, crazy?" What are you doing? No. I mean, you knew Santa.
Yeah.
You knew something was going to happen, but and nobody imagined that's what they were
And
going to
Infinity
do.
War doesn't have the pacing problems that Endgame does.
Oh, yeah.
So Infinity War is just solid.
The pacing problems with Endgame are horrible.
Yeah.
But, that's one other thing on this Coppola thing. And this is the part that I think is kind of funny. There is nothing that said Coppola's got millions of dollars. Okay, Scorsese has made millions of dollars.
But he also has an opinion.
Well, let me take this a step further. You want this stuff? There are movie theaters out there. Like, there are movie theaters here in the area that are more artsy-fartsy. Okay? Like, there's like there's certain theaters, like the one in the Highland Park, where they have certain types of movies. You could take your own money, or you could work with some of the smaller companies and start making and be making movies. That what they're really more annoyed about is that it's not in the big movie theaters anymore. That their stuff isn't going to be in the big movie theaters, and that the big studios are looking to promote those kinds of movies, and that what they're really looking for is the paycheck.
Oh yeah, that's what it's true. It's all about the money.
Right. It's all about the paycheck. It's not that they really want to make art. It's that they want them to pay you. They want to get paid to make
their
art.
For their version of what art is.
For their version of art versus the fact that if they really wanted to make art, they could. I mean, that's the one thing. I will give Spielberg all the credit in the world. Which is, hey, you know what? I'm going to make my own. And he got together with a couple guys and they made DreamWorks. And so he makes the movies he wants to make. I mean, you never hear this stuff from Spielberg. You never hear this stuff from Lucas. Lucas made Lucasfilm. Lucas made some film movies, not many of them, but Lucas made some movies that were not
genre.
In those genres.
Yeah.
The one, what was the one with the Tuskegee Airmen that he just recently did before they sold? Or there's the one that's based on the murder thing with the radio play. It's actually pretty good. I actually like that. When I saw it, it's a well put together movie. I can see why people didn't like it, but I thought it was good. And I can't remember the name for the life of me. But, Lucas, you don't hear that stuff about Lucas. Lucas could have made whatever movie he wants. Lucas could still make any movie he wants.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants with his $4 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. If tomorrow George Lucas wanted to make more movies and he wanted to make a different type of movie, he could. And let me tell you something.
And artists would be lining up at the door to work with him.
Well, and it's funny because you talked about Kevin Smith earlier. There's a perfect example of what you're talking about, which is think about all the big time actors and actresses who have done Kevin Smith movies that you would never imagine they would do a Kevin Smith movie. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck both had cameos in Reboot.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were both back for that? That's
yeah.
funny. But, I mean, think about some of the people over the years who he's had do cameos in some of those movies. Like, I'm thinking about, like, Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, he had James Vanderbeek. He had Jason Biggs. He had, what's her name? Shannon Elizabeth.
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek has been in his movies. George Carlin.
Alan Rickman.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Rock. Alanis Morissette.
And Chris Hemsworth did have a quick cameo in Reboot as well.
Didn't Kevin Smith do? He didn't do Geely, which is the one with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, but he did another movie with Jennifer Lopez.
Jersey Girl.
Right, with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. So Jennifer Lopez, I mean, he
did that one with Bruce Willis. He doesn't like to talk about.
Yeah, that one.
Tracy Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah, with Tracy Morgan. Yeah, the Cop and a Half or something like that. I don't remember her name.
Cop Out, I think was the name of it. I think.
Oh, is that which one it was? Okay.
And he worked with, didn't Seth Rogen when Zack and Miri make a porno?
Maybe.
Was that Seth Rogen? I think so. Oh, well.
Maybe.
But, yeah, the fact that these one time, they had their golden age back in the 70s and 80s, and now the landscape has changed currently, and I think it just comes off as sour grapes.
Well, and the thing that's funny is, look at all the promotion that Netflix is doing for this Irishman movie. They're doing as much promotion for The Irishman as any of the major studios would. They really are. I mean, the only thing is it's going to be limited in theaters, which I applaud Netflix for at least doing that. But it was funny because I found like only one movie theater nearby that's going to have it, and it's not a good one.
How far away is it?
Not far, but it's not.
Was not in a good neighborhood?
Well, no, it's at the Pickwick, which is an independent theater in Park Ridge. It's an older theater, but how can I say it doesn't? It's not like it has any of the amenities of the nicer theaters, if you know what I mean.
What? No reclining seats or whatever?
Yeah, none of that stuff. It's an old school, back in the day movie theater. You know.
Oh, it opens next Friday, The Irishman.
Yeah.
Then it won't go open. It won't open until. No, it opens, was it Friday the 22nd? The only place is the Pickwick Theater. It's 33 miles from me.
Right, it's right near me, but that theater's, how can I say, it's been around since I was a kid.
Oh. Okay, so it's kind of dilapidated?
Right, that's the best way to put it. It's not exactly,
Needs an update.
It needs some updating. Yeah. Like I said, to me, that's why I was kind of like, I think I'll wait till I have a buddy who has Netflix, and I'll be like, yeah, let's watch. But I can't imagine there won't be people who won't pick up Netflix to see it. I mean, I just don't buy that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think that's kind of silly. Hmm. I will say this. The only thing I will admit is, I just put something on our Facebook page a little while ago. Netflix is talking about trying to take out another $2 billion in credit for more content. But honestly, they're going to need it. There's a war coming.
Yep.
There's a big war coming, and all I can say is bravo to the writers and the creators of all this stuff. Because I saw something today where they're talking about the South Park library that they're talking about for about $500 million to sell to one of the streaming services.
I've been on YouTube and I've watched some of the cutscenes from that video game that South Park put out. The Fractured But Whole is the video game they put out, where it pretty much makes fun of the superhero genre. When you play just an anonymous kid, we interact with pretty much, it's like it plays out like a whole season of South Park.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, $500 million. And Trey and Matt, they don't have to do shit, but they keep making they keep making a show. In fact, last week's show, they changed it because of the whole China controversy thing, where what was it? Tally comes back to Randy Marsh and says, you need to stop working with China so we get back to work making weed, and selling it legit, taking money from the Chinese is not good. So anyway, but yeah, they finished that hour like that day that went out.
Yeah.
They're like Matt and Trey are still busting their balls putting out these shows. But they don't have to. They're set for life. They were set for life years ago, but they keep doing it.
But now they're going to be set for an entire...
Right. Yeah. It's a very, very long time. So. Yikes.
Yeah, so we took a brief break because the Star Wars trailer was actually being released in the middle while we were... Why do you release in the middle of Monday Night Football? Especially when it's like the Jets and the Patriots. Is the game even any good? I don't even know what the score is. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter between the Jets and the Patriots.
It kind of doesn't. No, it really doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
But the only score we're looking to get settled is between Rey and Kylo. Am I right?
I guess. There's a lot in between Did you catch all the voices? I'm not sure I did.
Well, the narration in the background was split between Carrie and Mark.
Well, there was a couple other people too, because I know.
Yeah, and of course,
I caught Finn and I caught Poe
and Palpatine, obviously.
Right. The only thing that looked interesting was there seems to be a space battle going on, and in the middle of the space battle, they're running on the outside of a Star Destroyer, and I'm trying to
when
figure
that Star
out...
Destroyers come up out of the water, oh man, that is so cool.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how you do that without needing to breathe. But maybe there's
just
something
the atmosphere
that
clinging to a large enough object in space.
I don't know. But the picture I saw wasn't in an atmosphere. It was space, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then I'm curious why 3PO says this will be the last time I see my
Taking
friends.
one last look, sir.
Yeah.
Like, he was built in 1. Why for some reason they have to deactivate him in 9?
Well, there's always been that story that there was always that rumor that back in the day that when Lucas wrote this entire set of trilogy, that really in the end it's either 3PO or R2-D2, and there are people who have the memory circuits from the droids, and that they're reading through the stories, or reading through the stories from 3PO and R2-D2 from those time frames. But given the fact that they've deviated from anything Lucas had planned with episodes 7, 8, and 9, I doubt that's where they're going. So,
I didn't see any extra bits of Lando.
Yeah, there was one.
Okay.
There was one where he's flying with Chewie in the Falcon. I did see that. Again, there with some of the footage that was there, certainly exciting looking, but nothing. I gotta be honest with you, it's certainly exciting. I'm going, yeah, okay, great, looks good, but nothing that made me really go over the top.
When they're standing, I thought you'd get something when they're standing in what looks like the remains of the throne room from Jedi.
Yeah, but that's not where that is. I'm pretty sure that's not where that is. I think that's...
I mean, it's the chair, the window, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same location. I think that's...
We'll see.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is just because from things I know from books and stuff, there's a world like that where there is that, and I think that's what they're using. I think they're going to those source materials. But we'll see.
Yes, we will indeed.
I
will.
I think it's interesting that Rey and Kylo are having a fight on something where there's all water around them, when Kenobi and Anakin had a fight when there's lava all over the place. So
yeah, oh yeah,
so
I didn't
kind of an interesting
make that connection.
Contrast. It's kind of an interesting contrast possibility. I don't know. I like I said, to me, one of the things, I'm not, like I said, there was nothing in there that made me go, I mean, I'm still going to see a movie. I really am. I'm going to see the movie early on, but there's nothing that made me go, oh my God, I need to see this movie. Nothing that was like, holy crap.
Yeah, nothing has really grabbed me as like that first trailer for The Force Awakens, where you see the Falcon at the end, where it does that flip, and a TIE fighter flies past it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
that was like one of my most epic trailers I've ever had watched.
I'll be honest. I think the 3PO line was supposed to give you the same kind of feeling as
sense of finality
when Han Solo and Chewie boarded the Falcon and like, we're back.
Yeah, we've come.
I think they were going for that same feeling there, but the problem is that I'm not getting that there, and maybe part of it is you know what, 3PO's been in just about everything, and I don't know. in some ways, I wonder if they knew, if they had any inkling at all that they were going to lose Carrie Fisher, if they had done this differently.
Of course they'd have done differently.
If they had done this entirely differently.
And the fact that it came out today would have been Carrie Fisher's birthday.
Yeah, the 63rd birthday. But yeah. I just wonder. I do. I'm curious how much they deviated from what they had to what they're doing now. And I'll tell you, at some point, if it's funny for all the people who sit and I'm kind of laughing when I say this out loud, for all the things I keep reading about how Warner needs to release the Zack Snyder cut of all this stuff. There's a part of me where I'm like, you know what? I'd like to see what Lucas had in mind.
Maybe we'll know someday. He'll write a book before he passes on, and maybe we'll know someday.
Well, why couldn't we do his 3? Why couldn't? I mean, there's money to be made. Let's be honest with you. People will always be interested to know what Lucas was gonna do. Maybe you don't need to do it as a movie.
Maybe he'll take it to the grave. Maybe it's a moot point now because, well, now I'm not going to do it now, so what's the point of speculating?
Well, my understanding is that I think they have the stories or the rights to them from Lucasfilm. I don't know all the details to it, but yeah, there's a part of me where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'd be curious. I mean, here, ready? You want to do this in a different way? Do it with animated. You know, that would cost less than the special effects. People would watch it. Put it on Disney Plus. People will watch. You know, I think that they don't realize that they could get people that way. Because I think, you know, there's a certain amount of people who would be curious what Lucas's last visions were versus the direction that they chose.
I agree.
You know, I'm still very fascinated and curious at some point to figure out if this was really, because I'm still curious if really this was how much things deviated from the initial plans of what they were going to do with these movies, and not just with Carrie Fisher, because of things we've talked about before, which is 8 so goes in a different direction than 7 entirely, and takes entire storylines and pretty much drops them on the ground and is like, yeah, fuck it. To which I kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, so we spent time investing in this, and then you had somebody basically throw them all out the window to go a different direction. I guess, I don't know. Again, there's a part of me where I'd love to know if that was really what they wanted to do there. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe like I said, maybe Lucas will put a book out someday.
Well, it won't be just Lucas. It'll be interesting to see at some point, you know, what Kathleen Kennedy might say, or what JJ might say. Because especially now, you know, JJ just signed a deal with Warner. So it's not like you're going to see JJ coming back around to do a Marvel movie, any Disney type movies for a while. If anything, rumor has it, JJ. There was rumors that they talked to JJ about a new Superman movie. So we'll see. Like I said, I don't.
But there were no major takeaways for you.
It runs quick enough that it's like, with all the jump cuts to show us all that stuff, where it's like, it's the whoa, it blows you away kind of thing. There's nothing really that immediately makes me sit there and go, whoa. Okay. I need to. Now I'm excited.
Yeah. And since we've had Force Friday, we've had some toilers come out. I know Poe's getting a new X-Wing. Because I think the black one blew up.
Did it?
I think it blew up in a hangar.
Probably.
And I did see what looked like a B-wing and a Y-wing.
Mm-hmm.
And But yeah, the massive space battle, that's coming. And Palpatine, we know that was teased long ago with his laugh when we had that trailer show at Celebration.
Right, and see, I think the interesting part to me is, well, to me, again, Palpatine, for me, this isn't new. For other people who have never read, who haven't read the books or the comics, Palpatine's bad. Or, to some people, they think this is a stunt because, this will get people to.
Well, the fact that he wasn't mentioned in 7 or 8,
right? And now all of a sudden he's back. But there's and it's still available from Dark Horse, which is what's called Dark Empire, and essentially in that set of in that graphic novel. Yeah, the Emperor comes back, and at one point, Luke does turn to the dark side, and there's a whole thing. But Leia is far more advanced in her Jedi's abilities, and I don't want to spoil much more than that. But it happens in there, so I know that's where they got the idea from. Okay, I mean I know because that's what I would use it from, and maybe they've made some twists and turns to it, but that's probably what they used. So to me, I'm not shocked that the Emperor's back, because it's like, okay, that's cool, but I've seen that. I don't know. I'm being cynical, and maybe I'm being cynical because I really didn't like 8.
We know.
And that's why I'm sitting here kind of like, you're gonna have to do a lot to impress me, and I feel like you took a wrong turn with 8, and now they're gonna go back to trying to turn. What we're gonna get is very similar tones to where they went with 7. And
you're thinking they're going to make a course correction like they did with Justice League after BVS.
Somewhat. I mean, here's the thing. Look, I like Force Awakens, but I understand where people have their issues with Force Awakens. That it looks basically like the original 3 movies.
Yeah, there were a lot of parallels to The Force Awakens to Episode 4.
Right, and that they ripped off a lot from those movies. Okay, and but in fairness, they needed to get the feel of Star Wars back, and they wanted people to have the same reactions and feelings. And yes, 8 was an opportunity to move away from some of that. The direction that they chose to move away from some of that was not a good one,
and it was jarring to a lot of people.
It was jarring. Well, the other problem is that I don't have a problem.
Not jarring, just jarring.
Right. Well, look, I don't have a problem with Rey or Poe or Rose Tico or any of those characters. I really don't. What I have a problem with is Chewbacca seemed non-existent in that movie. R2-D2 seemed non-existent in that movie. C-3PO seemed non-existent in that movie. And really, in reality, so did Princess Leia. And I'm okay with introducing new people, but you couldn't figure out a way to make time for some of the long-time characters and do more with them. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating as a fan that you couldn't figure out a way to do that. Right.
It's like the writers didn't know what to do with them.
Well, it's not even. It's either that they didn't know what to do with them or they didn't care.
Yeah.
And it was, they're here, whatever. I mean, seriously. If you didn't really have much to do with Chewbacca, with where he was at with Rey, he could have left with R2-D2 or something like that, and they could have met up with Poe, and they could have met up with Finn and Rose Tico and helped them out on the casino planet, and R2-D2, and it would have been interesting to see R2-D2 and BB-8 together doing things.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for.
Right.
And they had just like one brief scene together in The Force Awakens when R2-D2 comes out of his coma or whatever.
It would be fun to watch the two of them drive C-3PO mad. We didn't get that scene. No. We probably will get it in 9, but I would have liked to have seen that.
And now we got this other new droid.
Do we have another new droid?
Yeah, there's another new kid-friendly droid character coming.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Somebody pointed this out to me, and I'm hoping they're wrong, but one of the reasons why BB-8 gets so much screen time is because we created a new droid. Well, we make more money off of certain people make more money off the new droid because they created the new droid versus R2-D2, which is because it's the new droid, and we're going to promote the new droid because we want people to.
We sell the merchandising.
We got
where the
the
real money
merchandising.
from the movie is made.
Yeah, the real money.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
Right, exactly. And
that's Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Right, or the search for more money. At this point, and it's funny. I think Mandalorian, from what I'm hearing, fascinates me a little bit more than Episode 9 at this moment. Unlike a lot of people, I was excited about Solo. I wanted to see that part of the world, that part of the Star Wars universe, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I know, and I had kind of wanted to make a point of it to watch the finale of Rebels. I still haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
They're interesting characters.
Yeah.
But it just didn't appeal to me enough.
Right. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the next sets of movies, because obviously they're working on that too. It's the guys from Game of Thrones? Is that who's doing the next trilogy? That's my understanding.
So. I think that was the...
Let's hope this time they have an ending. Again, you and I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but all I hear from certain people was how bad
the finale was
about how the last season was not satisfying and blah blah blah. And I spent all this time for 8 seasons watching this, and I don't know. Like I said, I mean, the plan that Disney has is I think next year's Avatar finally after all this time is Avatar,
Hooray.
then followed by a Star Wars movie, followed by Avatar, followed by a Star Wars movie, followed by Avatar, followed by a Star Wars movie. Yeah, I'm not.
Oh well.
The Avatar love for me is just not. You're gonna have to sell me on that. They're gonna have to sell me on an Avatar movie. I'm just not there.
And the fact that there was no supporting fiction between now and this new Avatar movie that's coming, nothing to feed the fans in the interim.
Well, and it's weird because there's somebody who keeps pushing this whole Avatar was the greatest movie. I don't know who keeps pushing this narrative that's been out there that I keep hearing about, and I've heard for a while, and I'm like, I don't know who it is, and I don't know why it is. It's like there are certain people that seem. It seems like there are certain people or certain movies that seem to get these narratives, and it's like these people must be paying a shitload of money to get people to do stories and think this way. Like Kevin Smith, we talked about Kevin Smith earlier. There's a perfect example of one. The other is anything having to do with Zack Snyder and the Snyder cut for a Justice League movie, and the DC extended universe.
Yeah.
And then, James Cameron with Avatar is all we hear about. Oh, Avatar. I mean, a movie we haven't seen in...
What was that, 2009?
Yeah, something like that. Hold on.
2010?
Now I feel like I wouldn't looking it up. Because I feel like it's even longer than that. We've had that conversation before. Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago.
10 years on, no one's clamoring for an Avatar 2 yet.
Well, at least not that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are some. I'm sure that there's some. I'm sure there's somebody out there going, yeah, I can't wait.
Well, so I suppose that can wrap it up this week.
Yeah.
We're at that about time. At the sweet spot.
We would have been out. We would have been out the door a little sooner, except for the Star Wars trailer came out. So.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't mean to down the Star Wars trailer. I feel like I kind of did.
Just watch it a few more times and soak it in. Maybe we'll have a different opinion of it when we talk about it next week.
Yeah, maybe. Like I said, my first reaction is I just feel like I'm missing something epic. That's the answer. That's what I'm looking for. Like when I saw like the Avengers Endgame trailer, you know, it felt epic. This doesn't feel epic. And I don't feel like... Okay.
But you know what is epic?
What?
You, our listeners. Thank you for listening to our show. We appreciate it. If you want to contact us in other places, other formats, other avenues on the interwebs, we appreciate it. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. You'll know when new content drops. We're on Facebook. You can check out our wacky stories for our sister show, News of the Squared. Shout out to Scott.
Scott! I'm sorry.
We're on Spotify. We're on Anchor. We're on Podbean. We're on Google Play. We're on Apple. We're on all the funny, fancy podcasting places you can listen to us. Email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. Jeff, may the force be with you, and we'll talk to you next week, eh?
Sounds like a plan. And if you're on iTunes or you're on Google Play, please, if you're listening to the show, rate the show, because it will help us and get more listeners and all that.
We appreciate it.
All that fun stuff. So,
I don't have Ivan here to make the Wookiee sound. He's pretty good at doing that. Oh, my.